Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over a starter guide for Gold Mythic Noor, who a lot of people I know would have got to LB1, Limit Break 1, in the last like 24 hours, basically with the Battle Pass, doing every single mission. You should have the character potentially at LB1 right now. I basically made sure I did that because this character is extremely legit to try and get into your teams as soon as possible. LB3, the character, will of course be better. I don't normally do guides this early, but there's not much difference between the LB1 and the LB3 in terms of how you'd actually set this character up, except potentially the weapon, which we'll get onto later. If you want a breakdown on how this character's skills actually work, please check out my preview video. I go over all the skills in detail. In this one, we're mainly going to be going over which skills I think you should actually upgrade and how far, combat mods, weapon options, and how to use her on your teams. Now, when it comes to the skills, for Noor to be a top tier character, she does realistically need to be LB3 because she will get the boost on her signature move and her rush at LB2 and LB3. Trauma targets, she gets the extra 2 trauma targets at LB2, which is quite important to get the best out of her rush. And at LB3, she gets the first turn signature move, which is going to increase her survivability on a defense team. So you kind of need to get her to LB3 as soon as possible if you want to get the best out of this character. But as an LB1, which, like I say, everyone's going to have her right now, she's going to have pretty decent passives to keep other characters alive, even if maybe Noor, her personal survivability is not going to be great after turn 1. I have maxed out every single one of her passives. She gets both halves of the healthy passive, so she gets a massive HP boost. I think a lot of people are going to have her over 110, 120k HP without too much problem at all. And then you get the first halves of the Always Prepared and Staying Alive. You can see I've maxed out Spirit as well because she's doing so much healing. Bonus HP is going to come in. Once you get her to LB2 and LB3, instantly max these out, 100%. I would say her LB2 passive is actually the best because it's the one that gives early bonus HP for the team. But LB3 is nice as well. The random potential of 50% heal until the end of combat, you know, the rest of combat, is nice, and it can proc every turn, so that can kind of stack up. And if no one's taken any actual base HP damage and only taken bonus HP damage, that heal should always go to a character that will get the benefits of it, i.e. someone with infection or Noor herself because of her specialist skill, which gives bonus HP when she gets healed over her max HP because of O-Heal too. So yeah, very nice passive. It works with her kit really well, and I would max out completely everything. So the skills are pretty straightforward, and her combat mods are reasonable. They're not too bad. I would say the way you want to set up her combat mods is kind of like I did my video for Peacekeeper, is you don't have to go too crazy on her HP here because she's going to have crazy HP no matter what. You want to make sure she has good defense. If you completely abandon her defense on her mods and she's not getting any defense bonus from her leader, you're relying purely on the weapon, and her base defense is like 25k when fully maxed out, LB1 at least. So she's only gonna get maybe like 35k defense, which isn't really that good. You want to try and get up to like 45k defense when she's fully maxed out. And I would say you need to get a mod in here. Most people are going to use her as a PAM leader initially, and you might like switch up your teams later on, or like Wangfar lead. These are HP leaders, so you're going to have to get defense from somewhere. I would say top left hand corner, regardless, no matter what, you want to go with a defense mod. Now you can see I've gone offset defense mod, which is a Paragon mod. This is definitely fine to use because you are going to get a better bonus from using this than if you were to use like even a maxed out, I believe, Platinum mod on defense set. Just in terms of, I think you lose 1.9% from the set bonus, but you gain 2% like minimum from the fact that this is a 27%. But most likely you're going to gain a lot more than 2% from the mod. Now when we go to the top right hand corner, there's two things I have to decide. Obviously what I'm going to have here as a mod, pretty straightforward I think, defense versus tough. But what set am I going to use? Because I went offset in the first slot, haven't fully decided what I'm going to do here. So I think the best thing to do is basically decide which leader you're going to use Noor on, and use the opposite on her set. So again, so she's pushed up the stats that she's not really getting high. If she's getting decent defense from the leader skill and multiplied with the weapon, she won't need extra boost here. You could potentially even go for HP on HP in that circumstance. Again, like you want to be at least 45k defense if you can. But in this case, I'm going to be using her as a Pam leader, so I'm going to go with the defense set. And we're going to make it pretty simple. We're going to go with defense versus tough, of which I have none available, but I'll find one equipped to somebody else. So there we go. We have got the defense versus tough in the top right-hand corner. In the bottom right-hand corner, this is basically based on the meta at the time or what you want to protect. For instance, once she's maxed out LB3, you might want to protect her signature move so she can actually do it turn 1. So Daze Resist could be good here. It could still even be good here, LB1, because obviously you still got to resist the Daze. You still want to try and get that signature move off, but you've got to make sure that she survives that long as well. Now, other things you might want to put on her, things like heal reduction resist, and this is so that she actually does get maximum amounts of overheal as possible, and that way that you're going to give big amounts of bonus HP out every turn. So this is the mod I'm going to go with while she's LB1. I'll probably switch things up once she's LB3, just because she's going to get the second half of the self-healing passive, and I don't have to worry as much about this because she's going to be healing quite heavily anyway, and she's going to have much better survivability. There's going to be much more important things to protect within Noor's kit than the bonus HP, which shouldn't be a problem regardless. Now, bottom left-hand corner, I think this is pretty simple. You should go for a defense while having a certain status effect, whether it be stunned, whether it be confused, you know, because her passives work whether she's controlled or not, but they don't work if she's not alive. You know, that's the most important thing. So you got to make sure you keep her alive. So you got to work out which one you want to use the most. Are you thinking confuse is really heavy right now? We do have a character obviously out there that does, you know, constant confuse. Will they confuse Noor? Is she a character that can actually do skills and do things in the fight that are going to be problematic? Not so much. So they're probably not going to confuse her, but they might stun her by accident, or they might stun her on purpose. You can obviously use defense while disarmed as well. If there is a disarmed character that's meta, you might want to switch this to defense while disarmed. There are definitely some ways to go. I'm going to go with defense while stunned in this bottom left-hand corner for the moment at least. And I think I have a pretty decent one, 127%. And you can see that's where the set bonus comes in. I get another 12% defense, and you can see my defense getting a little bit higher as things go. Now, in the last slot, honestly, you can go a number of different ways. You can go with HP on defense, which I think would be absolutely fine. You could go with another resist, which I think would be absolutely fine. You could go with another defense versus, which I think would actually be fine. Once she's LB3, I would say that you could probably, you know, sacrifice another defense versus or HP for a resist. At LB1, I wouldn't risk the resist as much. You just want to make sure she's alive, so, you know, keeping her up with better stats or better chance of, like, actually reduction on damage that's incoming, just so that passive is just proccing more often, and then obviously giving bonus HP to the rest of the team. So that's kind of what you've got to do at LB1. At LB3, slightly different. I maybe would go for a resist. Like, for instance, I've gone with defense while stunned in the bottom left-hand corner. I might want to go for confused resist in the middle, because that's the other one, or switch it around. Stun resist plus defense while confused. But just to increase her survivability and also to boost the amount of bonus HP she's going to give off of turn 1 before she's got that maxed out passive, you know, to give better amounts of HP, I'm going to give her HP boost here. I think this is absolutely fine. I probably will switch this out once she gets to LB3, however. So when I lock this in, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, we have gone up to 63,000 HP and 37,000 defense. This is without a leader bonus, of which we're going to get a massive bonus from Pam, and this is without a weapon bonus as well. So I'll just quickly show you how it's going to work with Wang Fa. You can see that she's going to go up to 80,000 HP, and she's going to remain at 37,000 defense. This is why she needed that big defense boost inside her combat mods, because she's going to get no bonuses from the leader. It's all going to be on the weapon, which is not going to give her a huge amount, so she definitely needed combat mod boost. Now I put a weapon in her hands that has 45% HP boost and 30% defense. You can see we've gone up to a massive 116,000 HP, and we've gone up to a very nice 45,000 defense. This is what I think you should aim for at LB1. At LB3, you probably could aim for around the same as well. You could, you know, maybe sacrifice defense a little bit in her kit once she gets to LB3. Or you can just let that defense ride up a little bit. It'll go up to 50k. That's still going to be absolutely fine. That's actually good. She's going to be doing heavy damage reduction there. Now, if I wanted to use Pam lead, obviously, there'll be a big difference in her HP boost. It would go from a 30% boost up to a 50% boost. And in this case, it would go to 133,333. I didn't plan this at all, but it looks pretty good. And you can see the defense obviously remains the same again because Pam does not give any boosts when it comes to defense bonuses. But you can see I've done the same sort of thing with Pam's kit. Because she's giving huge amounts of HP on her leader skill, she needs defense. So I think a lot of characters need to kind of be balanced out based on whichever leader you're using them with. Now the weapon I was using on her was this weapon right here, and it was mainly for the stats, just to give the stats boost. But this wouldn't be a terrible weapon for Noor. This can be picked up in the Mythic store right now. This is Diamond's pistol, and this wouldn't be terrible at all. The cleanse is nice. The only problem is I think you could probably only get away with using this weapon once she's LB3. At LB1, you want to have as much damage reduction as possible. That would potentially mean things like 50% reduction to incoming crit attacks in the 4th slot. I probably would go with that on LB3 anyway. Now there might be some people eyeing up a pistol like this, you know, the old Jesus pistol, which gives alert buffs, mainly because it's got absolute defense. Now she's not really going to get any bonuses out of having that alert buffs, and while she does have very high HP, she'll get nuked extremely hard. You know, if a disarm comes in, which is not too hard, you know, she's not a tank, so she's not going to be able to resist crit. She's going to get obliterated because she's not going to be getting that defense buff from that 4th slot. So I think reduction to crits is probably a good option, but if you want to go for this weapon, that's absolutely fine. Just based on the fact that it has got the 3rd slot, you are going to have a nice reduction to damage coming in every now and again. You could potentially sacrifice a 5% upgrade on the stats and replace that 4th slot with 50% incoming crit damage. That potentially could be a decent idea. However, I think the easiest weapon to put in Noor's hands, especially when she's LB3, would be a weapon like this: 45% HP, 30% defense, focus stun, and then reduce critical hit damage taken by 50%. Pretty simple, straightforward weapon. This is kind of the weapon that I think a lot of people should at least craft as like a special within alerts. You should try and get at least one of these weapons onto your roster because they're always useful. Now, a weapon that could be useful on her, especially when she's low grade before she gets to LB3, could be a weapon like this, particularly if you do have her behind, let's say, a human shield, where she'll be able to get like protection and not give away AP too easily after that first turn. She'll basically give out massive amounts of bonus HP instantly in the fight, and I'll try and show you the differences between an 110% HP weapon and a non-110% HP weapon in a clip. But this is going to be very nice. Obviously the damage reduction as well, big stats, but that bonus healing just basically improves the bonus HP she's going to give out before the fight even starts. Okay, so we'll put some extra teammates in here just to show you the bonus HP. And I'm not going to give her the extra HP when healed weapon just yet. This is to show you how much bonus HP she's going to get off of LB1, just based on the passive, based on her max HP, and obviously the distribution to the rest of her team. And as we start the fight, you can see she's going to give everybody on the defense team 20,000 bonus HP, and she gave herself a little bit more because of spirit proccing. And this is going to be very nice, the fact that she's a medic, even though it doesn't actually heal her, because it works in conjunction with that specialist skill, it is actually going to proc. Now, this isn't a huge amount of bonus HP. She is only LB1. Once she gets to LB3, that initial heal goes up to 70%, rather than it being right now at 30%. So this is going to give over double the bonus HP. So she's going to give around about 50k bonus HP with the kind of stats that I've got on her off of turn 1. And that's where the big number comes in. So you're maybe going to want to use that incoming healing weapon, which we'll just test out in a second to see what sort of numbers that give. But let's say on the first turn you survive, every bit of healing is going to go to Noor because no one's taken any HP damage here. So for instance, William's passive, for instance, Pam's passive, and for instance, Noor's own passive will all proc onto Noor, and there should potentially be huge amounts of bonus HP coming here. You'll see multiple times it procs. So you can see, like, look at that, 20k, 30k, 40k, it's just huge amounts of numbers. Everyone's going to be max HP, bonus HP because of this. So, you know, this is what you want to happen, but it's going to be very hard for you to get this to actually happen, and unless you make it so that she can survive that turn 1. She's going to have to survive turn 1. At LB3, it's going to be more likely just because of the higher amounts of bonus HP initially in the fight. Now, the weapon I'm going to equip on her is this weapon. It isn't the weapon I showed you before. That was just one I crafted in the test region just to show you the kind of ideal weapon to go for. This is one that you can actually pull where it has 80% more HP. It isn't, you know, you can craft the 110%, or you can pull the 80% on the Ezekiel's robust SMG. I think it was a league weapon from a very long time ago. And obviously, I just go for the same sort of deal. 45% HP, 30% defense, 50% reduction to incoming crit damage. Simple as that. You're just going to have less incoming bonus healing, which I think obviously you'd want to go for the 110% if you can. So now when we start the fight, you can see the bonus HP she's giving out is 35,000, which is a lot nicer. She obviously gives her own bonus HP a little bit more. Her max HP has gone down by a little bit, by like 4,000, because she went from a 45% weapon down to a 40% weapon. But the bonus HP is obviously going to be massively increased because of the incoming HP boost. This is viable, I think, and very useful at LB1, but LB3 I don't think you need to do this, because you're actually going to be giving out more bonus HP than you see right now at LB3, you know, because she's going to have a 70% incoming heal rather than, you know, 30% plus 80%, which is obviously less than 70%. So it's definitely nicer to give her higher survivability, make it so that she doesn't get attacked on the weapon once she's LB3, but it's viable at LB1, I think. Now when it comes to team comps, I honestly think she's best on a Pam team, and this is because there are much more characters on a Pam team that have heal procs within their kits. For instance, you have Pamela's, and then you have Williams, like I said before. Whereas if you use it on a Wang Fa team, you have to use fast healing, and that's based on how many fast characters there are, so on and so forth. Whereas Pam Immortals is 100% heal, and that will 100% go to Noor as long as she's either the lowest HP or no one's taken any damage already. So very nice combo potential on a Pam team in particular. But I think on like the all-star defense team where you've got like your best characters, Noor could potentially be on that team. Wang Fa's generally the leader there. And I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. You're just not going to get the best out of her when it comes to turn procs on the bonus HP. You'll be fully relying on her passives and any like small amounts of HP boosts that you're going to get from elsewhere. For instance, like those fast hitting weapons, like I said. So this is my little gold Mythic Noor starter guide. If you have any thoughts or changes to this, please leave them in the comments down below. But if you look at her stats, this is what I think is ideal. The rest of it's kind of up to you, but you want to definitely get her defense up to a reasonable amount. Otherwise, she's very, very susceptible to being smashed. Because even though she's got really high HP, if her defense is too low, it doesn't really count for much. If you've come up against Peacekeeper with really low defense and really high HP, you can one-shot him a lot of the time with certain signature moves. So definitely make sure you increase her defense. It's very important for Noor here. Her HP is going to be high all the time. Let me know your thoughts on this guide. Any kind of ideas you've got, like I say, leave them in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.